Chicago, welcome in to the Chicago Sports Podcast on a beautiful Thursday afternoon in the West Loop. Not too hot, not too cold. Carm is just right.
You're just right, Kevin. I love the opportunity to go double dip back to back, hang out with you at a 1:30. We've never done this at 1:30 before. I might be better today than I normally am.
And not only is it 1:30, it's still Sunnyside Summer Thursday.
Sweet.
Head to sunnyside.shop or the nearest Sunnyside Cannabis dispensary and use code HICHGO for 35% off your first order. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders. Love those Sunnyside Thursdays.
I make Sunnyside Thursday every day. Right. You know what I mean. Sunnyside. Appreciate you.
We're going to be talking about a lot of things today, but Bulls are top of mind at the end of June here. They had the first round of the draft last night. We had an awesome turnout at PB&J for our Bulls draft party presented by Coors Light.
That was sweet.
It was impressive. I mean, sometimes I just feel like the Bulls are kind of back of mind. They're the team that obviously doesn't excite a lot of people for a lot of reasons right now. But when you see our diehard Bulls fans and you see how many people are still dying hard with that team, and we have so many great CHGO Bulls. Sometimes I almost feel like those guys are even more diehard fans of CHGO Bulls and not the Chicago Bulls. But to see people respond to Pack and Big Dave and the GOAT is amazing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Larry Strickland's already in the chat. Got to see Larry last night, and just a great crowd out there. Great hosting by PB&J. It makes me wonder, or just kind of argue in my own head here, like which fan base is the most loyal in Chicago? And it's a really hard question because Bears fans are effing loyal. Bulls fans have been filling up the United Center since Mike left the building still.
Quite honestly, I think it's the Chicago Fire.
You think it's the Fire fans?
Yes, because they've
got nothing
to hang their hat on for so long. There's really not a lot of great things about being a Fire fan other than the fan groups that they have.
The few, the proud, the mighty, the Fire crowd.
Yeah. Would you agree?
They're in there. I'll give you for passion and loyalty and loudness and
Bears. I mean,
in small numbers. I don't know, man.
At the same time, Bears haven't won since 1985. So, but that's so like just ingrained in Chicago and who you are. That's almost like not even loyalty. It's just like you're born into it, and it's.
I mean, if we're talking like the true diehard, that no matter what, that crew will hang in there and root for their team and get very little in return. I don't know, man. It's a tough race. Certainly.
Who's the least?
I mean, like, think about how little. Think about what we're dealing with right now. I mean, I'm watching AK last night. Arturas Karnisovas give his press conference. Just the most boring. He tries to make jokes and people laugh, and I don't think he's like a bad guy. In fact, I think he's probably a good guy.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, there's not a lot here going on as far as the Bulls ever doing anything. The Blackhawks had an incredible run, so maybe maybe you got to take them out of it because it's at least we can remember when they won. Mm-hmm. And they're going about it in the right way as far as going to the bottom, getting lucking their way into Connor Bedard.
But I don't know, like the people who were showing up for CHGO Blackhawks podcast when we first launched,
yeah,
and Connor Bedard was merely a twinkle in Jay Zawoski's eye. Those people are dedicated, right? I mean, people who are locked into Rockford Ice Hogs games and.
I mean, Think about the White Sox fan right now that's still going out to Guaranteed Rate Field and paying $14 for a beer and whatever it is for everything else. And
that to me seems like more a geographical lifestyle thing right now.
Summertime.
No one's locked into the White Sox. No one's locked into AAA Charlotte.
Think about what Sean Anderson's gone through in his life. Think about what seriously. Think about the tough road that Herb Lawrence has had to deal with. Guys, put it out there for years on end.
Yeah,
he's got to show up, and
they finally get a job where they can talk about the Sox every day, and the Sox are like, "Peace, I'm out."
Yeah, I mean, just tough. It's an interesting little conversational in the chat piece by Adrian Mass. Not to give too much credence to HP Basketball on Twitter. Bulls looking to move Nikola Vucevic. What do you think, Kev?
Sure, let's do it. Let's do it.
Greg Bragg's cheering in the background.
So that's what we were going to talk about here at the start
to the bottom.
of this show is the Bulls, with the 11th pick last night, select hometown product, Matas Buzelis. At some point I will get that right. And I do want to be here. I should have tuned in to one of the radio stations this morning because I want to know how the prototypical Chicago sports radio caller is pronouncing his name. And not that I'm doing any better. But what did you think of the pick, Carm?
So I've never heard of him. Let's start there. I think just like everybody else, I'm not going to oversell this in any way, shape, or form. Had no idea who he was. But in my expert opinion, after watching 1 minute of highlights, I like the pick.
Okay.
He looks athletic. He looks like he can get to the basket. He's 19 years old, so I get all the shooting and issues and 27% last year playing for the G League elite and the fact did they win 3 games or whatever it was, but they're playing against grown men. Mm-hmm. I heard Kendall Gill this morning on the score just singing his praises. Kendall, of course, was just in here recently. I love Kendall, and I know that Kendall tends to be a positive dude, but I liked what he had to say.
Right.
This guy apparently has an edge to him, Kev. Like this is not
as much of an edge you can develop in Hinsdale. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but look at Hinsdale, Karan Ambagaji.
That's true.
And also the Bears center out of Illinois, Doug Kramer.
He's from Hinsdale?
He's from Hinsdale Central, too.
They're just
it's a powerhouse,
okay.
man. Kramer, Amagaji, and Buzelis. Telling me that, what high school?
Buzelis, apparently his brother's a senior at Hinsdale Central, supposed to be pretty good.
There we go, too.
I don't know if he's now Buzelis played on the sophomore team as a freshman. The pandemic hit. He said, I'm out of here. Went to, did like the prep school tour. So Illinois prep basketball fans aren't that familiar with him unless you were a G League junkie. It was kind of hard to know this guy.
Right, played 1 year at Hinsdale Central.
Yeah.
So, but look, it's the same philosophy that AK has had, which is let me get high-end talent guys and hope that we can develop them. Let's use our shooting coach, who's done a phenomenal job with Io, right?
Yeah. I mean, so much of this is about the development, and Will wrote a great piece at the end of last year about how the Bulls are, developing more of their players, what they're doing. And to me, that part is interesting. But, I mean, this kid shot 27% from 3.
Peter Patton is going to get him going.
Think so?
I mean, that's what Matt Peck tells me.
I don't think Peck is telling you that.
He's always.
How much of this are you concerned by? That one, this kid was from Chicago, so you always have a little bit more proclivity towards the hometown guy, and he's Lithuanian. And I would assume, I didn't listen to all of AK's press conference, but I would assume there's got to be some link because Buzelis's
he did
all of his family
he's
is
known him. He's known him for years.
He's had to have known him forever.
Yeah.
His dad is.
So you're talking about a guy who was projected to be top 5, and at some point maybe even top 2 or 3, and now all of a sudden he fell down to 11. So does that set off any alarms for you?
Maybe a little, but again, their philosophy of taking a dude that can't it's the same thing with on the Giddey trade. He thinks that the ceiling for Giddey is very high. So he's gambling on high ceiling and maybe lower floor dudes. And that's the thing with Buzelis. Like, if he can figure out how to shoot, he's 19, these things can happen. And then you add in the ability to get to the bucket and be a presence on the defensive end of the court, too. He's super thin right now, but he gets off the ground well. You watch his highlights, the athleticism jumps off the page.
Sure.
You got to take big swings. I mean, they could have picked Dalton Connect. Dude could shoot. Would have been a safe, it's a huge steal for the Lakers. I hate that he went to L.A. Like, can we stop helping LeBron? But that's But this is a higher end play, and I endorse that philosophy for AK. It hasn't. Patrick Williams was a high end play. Hasn't worked out.
To me, it's going to be interesting though, because it looks like we're moving towards a situation where you're going to be saying goodbye to this last,
which is great.
But
go to the bottom, man, or just or play young players. How's that? Forget about the bottom.
So can that 19-year-old develop in that situation, getting your brains beat in, and you end up with 14 wins for the entire season?
I mean, okay, let's look. We can look at the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
Karl Anthony Towns got his brains beat in forever, and then eventually, now they're playing in the Western Conference Finals. Grant and Anthony Edwards came along and made a huge difference.
Just a bit, yeah.
But
so much of this to me is like, sitting there last night, I'm just thinking, man, I really hope we have a reason to hold a draft party, because that pick that the Bulls have is top 10 protected. So if they land in the top 10, we can have another great draft party at PB&J, and they're adding a top 10 piece.
I mean, I think the dream scenario for the Bulls right now is that they can do a sign and trade with DeMar, get some assets there.
Mm-hmm.
They end up keeping Zach. He comes back. He plays well enough. They don't win a lot of games. They trade, but Zach shows that he's healthy. So you're able to trade him for the deadline, get something of moderate value at that point versus the no value right now.
Sure.
And these guys get on the court and they start to develop rapidly. Josh Giddey's going to have the ball in his hands.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Zach LaVine, for me, is the player most likely to be traded. Do you agree with that? Disagree with that?
Say again?
Do you think Zach LaVine is the player most likely to be traded? Because for me, that's, if you want to get to the bottom, one, you start shedding salary, and two, you start getting future assets.
I mean, I could see two sides to it, but if you are, because look, you're trying to be in the top 10. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom. The Bulls haven't had a huge appetite to do that. Mm-hmm. So you want to be in the top 10 to keep your pick. So do you want to have like Zach around to make things a little bit easier for everybody? Because he will take some of the scoring load off. The guy's going to put the ball in the bucket. That's what he does. But on the other hand, I'm trading Zach LaVine the second I can get anything that I think is of value. It's just, let's get the money off the books and let's move along a guy who deserves to be moved along at this point. He's a good soldier. He's going to play hard,
right?
Or hard like Zach LaVine plays hard. Let's be honest. I mean, the defensive end of the court, he's kind of allergic to it, at least a lot of the time. So, but I don't think he's going to be a malcontent if they bring him back. Is my people like that bridge is torched, and I've said that too. But Zach's not the type that's going to cause a ton of waves if he ends up coming back here.
Yeah, it'd be like a little bit more like kind of a subtweeting type of checked out sort of thing.
Right. It won't look great at times.
Right.
So that if you want to go back in time, look, they should have traded DeRozan and gotten whatever they could have gotten at the deadline last year. Mm-hmm. The concept of trying to go to the playoffs and eke in was ridiculous. You're going to beat the Boston Celtics. You're going to beat the New York Knicks. No, you're not. So what's the point? So they should have traded DeMar then, but they didn't like the optics of that, and for what? Mm-hmm. And maybe they literally kept him just so they could get the one damn ass playoff game, play-in game. I don't know, but she should have been dealt there. They shouldn't have signed LaVine. They could have traded Zach a long time ago before that contract got in value there. But they have been allergic to being aggressive. So maybe now they at least are starting to go that way, which they need. I mean, Go around this earth one time, baby. Be aggressive through it. Have some fun. Try to win championships.
I want to talk to you about kind of teardowns and when you do kind of rip the Band-Aid off or pull the trigger or whatever.
Cubs sucked on ripping the Band-Aid. They did.
First off, I want to say that it's grilling season. It's time to get your pork. Because people who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitians of Canada, the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. So for a 150-pound person like yourself, Carm, that's about 81 to 36 grams of protein per day. I like that you laugh every time I say that.
I'm so
One
disgusting.
3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in a general fitness program or who are interested in optimizing their health eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, which include lean cuts of pork like the ones that you see on YouTube with our friend Grillin' with Dad. Go check him out. Everyone knows him. So he was here in our offices last week. He'll be here again soon. Elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From sausage and bacon for breakfast to pulled pork and juicy chops hot off that grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind that product, paid for by Illinois pork producers, generations of commitment.
And our friends at Lucy want to give you the good stuff. 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. They're available in pouches, gum, and or the favorite, the Breakers. Breakers are pouches, but with a capsule of liquid flavor inside that helps saturate the pouch. They're available in 4 milligrams or 8 milligrams. They've got amazing flavors, mint, berry citrus, espresso. And if you're not a pouch guy or gal, Lucy has gum for you, 2 milligrams, 4 milligrams, 6 milligrams, whatever you need. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. No more weekly, daily, whatever it is, bi-weekly trips to the gas station. Get it sent right to your door. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/CHGO and use the promo code CHGO to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co. Use that code CHGO to get 20% off. Always free shipping. And there is some fine print for you. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. And the warning, this product does contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Order age is age verified.
Shout out to Rob who says, Matt and Big Dave are hungover, huh? They might be, I don't know. But they will be here for round 2. We have that show coming up. For some reason, they're splitting up the 2 days of the NBA draft. And then it's not even prime time. It starts at, 4?
Yeah, I mean, it's
everyone's tuning in to see Bronny and
Tim Legler. Shout out to Legs with a good take here. He's saying the Celtics at 54 should draft Bronny and say, quote, we have your son. If you want him back, we need Austin Reeves.
Love it.
I think that's a good take by Legs. Somebody's take Bronny and see what the Lakers will do, or if Bron will leave.
So what I wanted to ask you is, at what year, try to put a pin on it, Carm.
Yeah.
Did we kind of move into the thing where it's like, if your team sucks, we just automatically say, tear it down and rebuild?
We moved into it when the Cubs did, and they won the World Series. I mean, it happened before that.
Like, who was the first? I don't even really know. Was it? Because I don't think it was necessarily a Moneyball thing.
Well, it was a little Moneyball-ish.
This never happened in the 80s and 90s. It's like, if you just, if you're just kind of a middle-of-the-road team with Orlando Woolridge, like that was just kind of your lot in life, and that's kind of what existed.
Yes and no, though. And like in 85, 86, a lot of people thought the Bulls should tank to get into the lottery so they can get Patrick Ewing, and that's when David Stern allegedly froze the envelope in the bin that used to circle around, not the lottery balls that there are today. And, of course, they made the playoffs because Jordan came back and got swept by the Celtics and the 63-point game and all of that. But to your point, like, when teams saw the Astros do it and the Royals do it, the Cubs do it, then it became in vogue.
Right.
And now they, of course, have put all these...
And it's been like the greatest thing for cheap owners because you can say, like, look at what we're doing. We're rebuilding. Like,
right.
I mean, particularly in baseball. Like we're just trying to get good, and then.
But what it underlined to me, and people still try to push this back, Kev, is like, fans aren't going to take that. We will literally take anything. We are.
There's still people though that like, why aren't the Blackhawks trying to win now? Connor Bedard's rookie year, like why aren't they spending to the cap? Those people still exist.
Sure, but they're also still watching, and they're still
right.
They're. I guess my point is that, like, you're going to lose some viewers. There's going to be less people that are going to go to Wrigley Field at the second half of the season if the Cubs end up selling at the deadline. Comiskey Park, Guaranteed Rate Field, whatever, it's going to be a ghost town.
It sold out last night.
After Shohei Ohtani leaves town, it'll be, and after September, there's going to be 6 people showing up. But
right
at the end of the day, the second you show that you're good again, they're all going to come right back. We love it. We are addicted to being entertained, and thank God for it, because I wouldn't have a job without it. But seriously, like I'm not.
We've seen it work so well with the Cubs. We've seen it work so terribly with the White Sox, and now I would say like the Blackhawks were like in between, because they just danced with that for so long. They never did it. And then they finally did, and now we've got Connor Bedard, so it looks like it's going to work out, but you never know.
Well, right, but they got bad before, and they ended up with Kane and Taves, and
Edmonton still doesn't have a Stanley Cup. They have Connor McDavid, right? I mean, they bottomed out.
Sure.
The Bulls have refused to bottom out forever.
Well, they're making it harder and harder with the lottery. Like, I mean, the Pistons were the worst team ever for multiple years now, and they haven't drafted higher than 5th. We've just gotten completely screwed.
What a shame.
Yeah, that sucks for them.
Absolute shame.
That's too bad. But I do think, like,
But to me, it's like, okay, like, Vinny had a great article where he ranked, like, the 8 White Sox players most likely to be traded.
Okay.
And Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert Jr. were on that list, as they should be, because they are the most attractive pieces on the trade market. But to me, like, you just don't trade them just to trade them.
You're trading him to hope
do you know who's pitching against the White Sox today for the Braves?
I have no idea.
Chris Sale.
That's insane. How old is Chris Sale now? 40? Is he 40 yet? 38?
Was he 34, 35?
Is it? I'm going to look it up. But, I mean, this is where the Jordan voice is going to come out. It's a conundrum. Because what are you going to do?
It's 35.
It's 35. Okay.
Good guess by me.
So, I mean, if you're the White Sox, you're in this position. You'd be trading Crochet to find Crochet, but you'd be trying to find like 3 Crochets in one trade.
Right.
So, are you confident that I can trade Crochet and I'm getting at least 1 Crochet back, and I'm going to maybe get and maybe 2 or 3? Same thing with Luis Robert.
Right.
Or if you're not confident, that's how I would.
I mean, like Chris Sale was probably at a point where you had to part ways with him. Things were not going well. He did not enjoy being here and getting his teeth kicked in and being made to wear strange jerseys and whatever else.
Yep.
But the haul that you got was Yohan Moncada and Michael Kopech, who have had their moments, but clearly
it looks great
at the end of the day.
Yeah, for a minute it looked great. I mean, when
I mean, both guys were like the top prospect in baseball.
Right, and when Kopech made his debut here, it was a big deal.
I went to the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
And then it started to rain.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah,
he was great in the first inning, and then I was. Yeah, you went to that game because of Kopech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the trade for Lucas Giolito, they got 3 guys in that deal, right? Who did they send? They sent
Adam Eaton.
Adam Sad-Ass Eaton to the Nationals.
Ronaldo Lopez.
They got Lopez, Giolito.
Dane Dunning.
That was unbelievable.
So I think like that White Sox team is kind of like where the Bulls are now. It's like you're not going to get good again before DeMar DeRozan hits 40 years old. You're not. Zach LaVine has proven to not be a dude. Like, and at no point do I think Zach LaVine will ever be a dude. Like, he's a really good basketball player. He can shoot. He can do his thing, but he's just not going to do it.
I mean, Carm, to your point, do you remember how they got Zach LaVine? Who they traded?
Yeah, they traded Butler for Markkanen, LaVine, and Chris Dunn.
And look how good Jimmy Butler's been. I mean, we already knew he was good, but he's a bona fide superstar.
Right.
We never got that from anybody.
Well, and at the time, people thought that Jimmy was too big of a pain in the ass. He was fighting with Fred Hoiberg. It was an odd relationship with him and Rose and him and Noah. And people just didn't, for whatever reason, people did not embrace Jimmy as much as they should have. That dude was a competitor and a half.
Yeah.
He really should have been embraced. Like, he was actually the perfect Bull. But I think there was just so much stuff going on around the team at the time with Tibbs and Rose and Noah and then, you know, he's MFing.
So, sometimes you just like kind of like lose the plot line, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that kind of happened there.
At the time, if I'm calling myself out, I thought they should trade Jimmy, and I was dead ass wrong. I was.
Yeah.
And that trade on paper, it's a pretty good trade. I mean, Lauri Markkanen is blowing up for Utah right now.
Mm-hmm.
Zach LaVine's a 25-point scorer. I get that he's not perfect. I mean, Chris Dunn didn't do anything, but it really wasn't a bad trade. It just wasn't a good trade. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the Timberwolves couldn't even keep him around.
And and he moved on twice from there, from Minnesota to Philly to Miami. And when he signed in Miami, everyone's like, I was surprised and like, oh. So but people should have taken notice. A really good organization wanted Jimmy Butler. And nobody thought that was going to work out, and he ends up getting to the finals.
Going back to that Red Sox White Sox trade, that for a while that almost kind of seemed like a trade that both sides were kind of win with where they were, because the Red Sox were able to win the World Series, but then Sale blows his arm out and never was,
And that was the thing with Sale too. Like, every time you watched him pitch, like, you'd see that bulge at his elbow.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's gonna blow out. I know it. And then he never did. And then of course it finally happened.
It catches up with everybody in baseball. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you are bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And they probably have a style in your favorite team's colors, so go check it out at shadyrays.com. I love Shady Rays. I wear my glasses all the time.
We love our Shady Rays.
Wear them when I'm driving, I wear them when I'm working out. Wear them when I'm trying to be unseen at the supermarket because everyone's recognized me from CHO.
Oh, it's tough.
Not a true story.
Yeah.
If my shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it, because they have the most insane protection of all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. No risk when you shop, because the Shady Rays team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, today, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourselves the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Love your Shady Rays and love yourself some Sunnyside. What is Sunnyside? Well, Sunnyside, it's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and then purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Your one-stop shop for your cannabis needs. They've got a menu with 100 strains. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary. And if you're just starting out, Sunnyside, they got the expert guidance. they'll direct you into what you need for however you want your cannabis to impact you. Here for the summer is Good News Tea Time disposable vape, bringing the classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course, because we all need a little help staying loose on that green. Head to sunnyside.shop. Use the code HICHGO at checkout for 35% off your favorite brands like Cresco and Good News and more. Elevate that first purchase, 35% off. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois medical card holders. Thank you to our friends at Sunnyside, sunnyside.shop.
Good comment here from David Snyder. He says, you rebuild with good draft picks. One player can make the difference. One good player each season in the draft. Look at that 90s Bulls team, how they got there. Jordan, Grant, Pippen. Totally agree there. And when you do look at the AK experience, it has not been putting a premium on those draft picks. And something similar that happened with Ryan Pace, right? And now we have Ryan Poles, who does value the draft picks, who is collecting as many swings of the bat as possible, and it looks like it's making a difference for the Bears, and that's not happening with the Bulls.
Yeah, well, and AK was asked about it last night. He said, well, we got a young player who's 21 who's still improving, and it was fair value for Caruso. I agree with him, and
right,
you're seeing guys. Mikal Bridges getting 5 draft picks. Some rando dude yesterday that most people haven't heard of that I have to pull up on my phone right now because I forgot his name. We got traded for 4 draft picks. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
Mikal Bridges?
No. Mikal Bridges got traded for 5 with the Knicks and Todd Thibodeau's straight insane, but God bless him.
I probably don't because I was going crazy just trying to cut video for our social. By the way, we had like 10 different scenarios, like pre-written things Will worked to get up, so when the Bulls made their player pick, I could just pick one, put it on the website, publish it, and kind of move on. Well, of course, Buzelis fell so far. We didn't have one for him because Will didn't foresee him falling that far, so it was like a total scramble.
That's the craziness of your.
That's how things go.
Yeah. The Washington Wizards traded Denny Avdija to the Blazers for guard Malcolm Brogdon, and then 14th pick in Wednesday's draft at 29 first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. You ever heard of him? Yeah. Again, Denny Avdija for Malcolm Brogdon, the 14th pick, 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. So it was like, hey, there, AK, along with Josh Giddey, who you really wanted, can you get some draft picks? They've got 4 first-round picks next year. You couldn't get one of them?
Right.
Dude, hold out. They want Caruso. Get it done. But he wanted Giddey too bad. Oh, it's a fair trade. Giddey's 21. This guy's 30. He's breaking down. It's a good. Yeah, I get it. It's a good deal.
Why is your AK impression the same as your Michael Jordan one?
I thought I didn't have a little bit of difference.
It's pretty much the same.
Okay. No, MJ's a little more pronounced. This dude's straight mumble.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually was sitting there listening to him last night. I'm thinking to myself,
It's actually more of a Dan Levy impersonation.
Okay, all right. Hey, dude, you need to think. We should all be thankful for Ryan Poles. Gets up there, doesn't he'll give you some transparency that you won't get from around the world, around the Chicago GM world. I do enjoy. I mean, like, Jed Hoyer's a good talker, so is Chris Getz.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something.
So I think right now we are most hopeful in Chicago for one, the Bears. I think without argument they're the closest to doing something. Then 2, the Blackhawks, because of how many draft picks they have, who they already have on the ice with Connor Bedard and Kevin Korchinski, and hopefully Lucas Reichel kind of continues doing what he did at the end of last season and not what he did at the start. Who would you rank 3 now? And now if I asked you this 3 weeks ago, it would easily be the Cubs.
Yeah. So
and I think it still is.
logically,
but if things get so crazy and the free fall continues, and then you're stuck with the Ricketts have no choice but to,
part with Jed,
and you're starting over a new foundation.
I don't think they'll do that, but I will say the Bulls did make a step, or at least it seems like they're making a step to get back in at least contention to be number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a slow move here, but if you want to give them the slight benefit of the doubt, they, in the 35 games that they had Lonzo Ball, AK had something cooking. And he's done some things really right. He drafted Io. He kept Io.
Mm-hmm.
Got him on a great deal. He signed Caruso on a great deal and just, got a young player for him, whatever. Those are good jobs. DeMar DeRozan was a very good player here.
He's been great, but when that contract was signed, everyone was like,
sure,
you're boxing yourself into something you probably don't want to.
Well, and the biggest thing that I didn't like was the Vooch trade, because it was like, you're giving up on young players. What are you going to?
He knows good players. I don't think he understands the resources side of it. And you spent so much money beefing up that front office. And Michael Reinsdorf talked about getting to a modern day front office and hiring capologists and then
so maybe
then you just trade away every draft pick you have for Vooch, and that was such a rash move. That was the equivalent of the Blackhawks going out and spending to the cap for Connor Bedard's rookie season, or had Ryan Poles come in here and decide, okay, well, I'm going to go out and trade for someone to complement Khalil Mack instead of trade Khalil Mack away for
right. Well, I do wonder with him, at least somewhat, how much is the direction from above him saying, like, hey, we want to be a playoff team.
Right.
The old Jerry Reinsdorf, best thing you can give your fans is finishing in second place thing, which I don't really believe he actually thinks, but he also does understand the value of it. And he also did say at one point that he would trade all 6 Bulls titles for one White Sox thing. So,
did he really say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I used to make a silly claim that I would have traded one of the 3 Petes for one Blackhawks Stanley Cup.
Well, if you're a Hawks fan, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but now in retrospect, and I didn't have to do it, right? The Bulls didn't have to trade up to get Buzelis. I didn't have to trade up to get those.
They got their own dynasty.
It doesn't work that way. But that's it. Since you brought that up, and Wade, you're right. Vooch has got to go too. Vooch should be playing on a contender. Same thing with DeMar. Same thing with Zach. The Bulls should go young. This is obvious. Get it done. Let's go. You're starting to edge the right way. You've got a lot of young talent on the roster. You got Giddey, you got Buzelis, you got Kobe, you got Io, you got Patrick Williams, you got Dale and Terry. I mean, you're probably going to win 22 games, but as somebody who loves going to the United Center, loves watching NBA basketball, I'd rather see the Bulls do that, as painful and annoying as it will be, and you'll never know when you're getting out of it, than having a team that's getting to the play-in game every year and has no chance of doing anything. That's not how you should run your organization. That's like sports organization 101.
So let's say you had to let's say you could trade one Bulls championship for a Bears Super Bowl this year. Would you do it, and which Bulls championship would you trade?
No.
Wow.
No. You take one off, then he's got 5. Like Magic has 5. I mean, I'm here to protect Michael's legacy, so I'm not doing that. That's a no.
Steven, would you do it?
I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'd be great for the show. So that makes
for the bottom line.
That makes it tempting, and I don't really need him to have 6.
Steven, were you aware? Were you self-aware during all 6?
Not all 6. No. So I was born in '93. So
okay.
I do remember watching part of the '98 season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't be that hard for you to do it.
Correct.
No,
yeah, it's not like I was growing up with it. It's like I didn't really know what was going on yet.
I lost.
I think 97 would be the easiest to part with.
You might not. You wouldn't have gotten 98 if you parted with 97. They would have torn it down.
That's a good point. Good point.
You can't. No, we're not doing that. We're not giving up the greatest dynasty in the history of this city for the sad ass Bears to finally get one. No, earn your way. Let's go. You can do this. You're going to
hold
do
out,
this.
and then Caleb wins 3.
You're going to do this. You're going to do this. Caleb, Poles, George, Peck. It's happening. Bears.
Peck is in the building.
Peck
has arrived. How are we feeling, Peck?
Peck is.
He says he's tired. There's some speculation. There's some speculation in the chat that it may have been hard for you to get out of bed this morning. Peck says it's hard for him to get out of bed every morning.
Listen,
so.
I don't believe it. I think Peck flew out of bed tonight with the concept of Julian Phillips and Matas Buzelis coming down the court, just sharing the basketball and striking fear across the NBA. It's going to be unbelievable. Yeah, we are abs. The Bulls are going to, if they don't win it all, as Peck just said. They're a lock top 4 in the East. It's a lock. This team, the plan is being executed on the West Side. Damn it!
All right, so we've got a great weekend coming up. You are going up to Milwaukee
on
that Chicago CHGO Cubs bus trip. It's going to be legendary.
Yeah, we went a little too far.
We're going to save the season.
The season will be saved Saturday, starting at 9 for those who are getting on the bus at Almost Home.
I think there's 4 spots available, so if you're thinking about it at all, you might want to snap those up.
Please. There's only 4 left?
I think so.
Really? Let's go. The final 4.
The final 4.
We need you. We're bringing donuts. We're bringing sandwiches. We're bringing all the beverages you can possibly consume. And we're bringing the fun. It's going to be awesome.
Our Hawks guys are in Las Vegas for the NHL draft. They've got the number 2 pick, so that should be interesting. They're picking between 2 Russian guys, who
I love.
I'm
both
sure
of
we'll
them.
love either of them, whichever comes. One's a forward, Demidov. Other guy is a big defenseman from Michigan State, Artyom Leshevnov.
Leshevnov is available?
Shut up.
You want Leshevnov. I know you do. You've always been a Leshevnov.
I like Lawrence kind of, is like, look, you need 12 forwards. You need 6 defensemen. We already have a pretty good crop of defensemen in the pipeline. Let's get the most talented forward we can have.
Naked guy just came out, by the way. The store, Kevin, is out and ready.
The store, probably a lot of good stuff going on at the store this weekend.
What's your prediction on who they're taking tonight? Give me one, Kev.
For the Blackhawks?
Yeah.
It's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. That's what I meant.
I think they'll probably take Demidov.
Okay.
Hopefully.
The Demidov.
By the way, I got to tell this story.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna rope Joey in here. Joey yesterday said that he had. Did you claim to have inside information?
New haircut on Joey, by the way.
Reed Shepard, is that his name?
Yes.
I got another guy I would never heard of.
Dude looks like he should be starting for Highland Park High School. Third overall pick. Go ahead.
He was like, what he said. Woj dropped maybe like he could be selected. So I ran to the app and put in, and then like 2 seconds later,
he was gone to number 3.
Woj tweeted, "No, it's actually this other guy."
Oh,
did you see that one tweet that was the video of like all the guys in the green room? And it was like, I've never felt more confident that I could beat up all of the entire draft class. And like most of the guys, it was like actually true. I think you could have beat up most of them.
I can't give myself that credit. That was the weirdest NBA draft of my life. I literally had not heard of one of the players.
Yeah, almost all the players were international prospects I've never heard of.
Since when is France the
like
basketball hub of the world?
The GOAT has entered the office.
Great.
How are we feeling, Will?
GOAT loves the Buzelis pick. He thinks it's a good value. He doesn't love.
I do love the fact that Ricky O'Donnell actually complimented the pick, because Ricky O'Donnell has not complimented the Bulls for at least 17 years.
I mean, I thought that I did a great video last night at PB&J. I don't know if it made it to the light of day. Maybe it's just deleted immediately off of Emma's phone. But the Booze and Buzelis. It's an instant hit. Your favorite Buzelis. There's synergy there. Buzelis was meant to be a Bull.
I thought it was Buzelis.
Whatever. Buzelis. My bad.
All right.
I like his attitude, Kev. He's gonna bring us a little edge, and the Bulls could use a little edge.
Before we wrap things up here, another big event going on in the city.
Yeah,
this weekend. You know,
the Stones.
The Stones at Soldier Field.
Yeah,
are you going? No, not yet. I don't know.
Can't go tonight. 2% chance I go Sunday, but unlikely.
The ticket prices are not crazy.
$100, last row.
Here's the thing. I saw the Rolling Stones in 1997 in Madison, Wisconsin. Only time I've ever seen them. I think it was the Bridges to Babylon tour, maybe?
Sure.
They were too old then, and that was 27 years ago.
Yeah, but Mick, he still does it, man. He gives you
my buddy saw him in Atlanta and was like, it's kind of like a Broadway show at this point. It's not a rock concert. It's a Broadway show.
Yeah.
They may as well just kind of be animatronics or holograms. But it's, you know.
So let me think about this.
I would never, like, some of the prices are insane. Like, who is paying $500 face value to go see that?
Just, cheapest ticket, get in, move around, have some fun. I was there when they I was vending at what was then Comiskey Park 2.
They played there once.
Yeah. And they allowed you to sell before the Stones started singing. So... And I think that had to be...
I think it was like 2005, 2004.
It was a little earlier than that. I want to say like 02, 01, somewhere in there. And so I'm underneath before the show, getting just hanging out before they send us out there to sell the product. And Mick rides by on a golf cart. This flies right by us. We were like, Mick. and he gave us the,
that's pretty cool.
He gave us the wave. And to your point, he was old then.
Yeah.
He was. But he was amazing on stage.
He's great. I love the stuff he does on social media where he'll just go to some bar, kind of be wearing a hat, and see if anyone notices, and people will not go up to it, which is...
I mean, Dave Matthews was not the same as Mick. Mick's on a whole other level. But Dave Matthews was like sitting in the front row at the Cub game the other day. How many people knew that he was there?
A lot of people look like Dave Matthews in Wrigleyville.
Wrigleyville they all look like Dave Matthews.
They don't talk like him, but...
Yeah, no, right.
Favorite Stone song?
I'm going to go She's a Rainbow.
Ooh. Any particular reason?
I feel
Does it remind you of somebody?
I feel it every time.
Okay. You sing it to Poppy?
I haven't, but I will today.
Favorite Stones album?
Exile.
Okay. It's got to be, but...
Yeah, I mean...
I was listening to Let It Bleed on the way down here, which is just as good.
Yeah, I mean... It's the Stones. It's hard to go wrong.
Steven, you got a favorite Stone song?
I'm a lot younger than you guys. I don't know.
You don't have to be old to like the Stones.
You could just say Painted Black. Go ahead, it's fine.
Yeah, Painted Black.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
wow.
Go. I'm not a big music guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start Me Up.
Sure.
I just think like Steven, all the time he spends in the gym, would have heard like Satisfaction at some point.
Yeah, I've heard that song. I'm really bad with song titles.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I could probably recite lyrics if the song started playing, but
gotcha.
Yeah, I can't give you the name of it.
Okay.
Beast of Burdens. It's playing the hits, Colin. You got it. Sure, why not?
Every time the Stones come here, I think, man, this is the last time to see the Stones. And that's kind of how I feel about tonight, but it's probably not true.
I mean, he's going to make it to Sunday. How old is Mick?
He's going to make it to Sunday. I hope so.
How old is Mick?
Do you know who is? Here's a question for you. Who is the rock legend whose final show was in Chicago?
Jerry Garcia.
There you go.
Mick is 80.
Yep, he just turned 80.
That's insane. I remember when Jerry died, That was during my college years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge blow at the time.
Pearl Jam played there a couple days after, and that was probably the best concert I've ever been to. Pearl Jam at Soldier Field in 1995. That was like Pearl Jam at the height of their powers. They were taking on Ticketmaster. You kind of felt like maybe corporations could still be defeated. There was still maybe a chance.
Yeah.
And it turned out everybody lost, but that was a pretty good show.
I'll throw Tom Petty in the mix.
Love Tom Petty.
Tom Petty at Wrigley, Tom Petty at the United Center, both amazing.
That was the Tom Petty, that last show. We had just had our second daughter, and it's like, hey, should we go to the show? I was like, man, I'm freaking tired. I've been not getting a lot of sleep. I'll see Tom the next time. And then he died like a month and a half later.
I missed the Wrigley show too. And
yeah.
It was like slightly raining that night, and I was down the street. I'm like, should we go? I'm like,
Whoops.
What a dumb decision that was. One of my worst of all time. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll see you on the bus. Be there Saturday.
Have a safe time. You're going to be the oldest person on that trip, so you're going to be the most responsible.
Thank you.
Just saying that.
I'll do my best. Grandpa Carmel.
We won't be here next Thursday because it's 4th of July, but we'll be here the Thursday after that. So thanks for joining us. A lot of stuff on CHGO today. Bulls second round review. Cubs and Sox talking about probably another loss, but they'll do it in an entertaining fashion. And check out Blackhawks all weekend long out in Vegas. For Mark Carman and Stephen Nicholas behind the board, I'm Kevin Kaduk. This has been the Chicago Sports Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.